Hey guys, welcome back to Adapted Adventures. On this week's video, I'll be giving you my wheelchair accessibility review and intakes and insight on Walt Disney World's Animal Kingdom. Hey guys, just real quick before the video, I just want to let you know I'm not a Disney employee. I'm not being paid or sponsored by Disney. So all my insights and advice that I give you today are based purely on my own experiences that I've had when at Disney. So if you have any specific questions about accessibility within the parks, please contact Disney directly. All right, so this week is our third video on our series about the parks and my accessibility or wheelchair accessibility and review for the 4 parks. So we did Magic Kingdom, and then last week we did Epcot, and this week we're going to talk about Animal Kingdom. So Animal Kingdom as a whole park, it's the biggest park out of the 4, I think, but like acreage wise, but I think most of that might be the safari because the park itself and the parts that you walk around in don't seem that big. And then like hills and stuff wise, it's not the flattest park out there, but it's not horrible. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 spots in the whole park where I can remember having to kind of hoof it up a hill here and there a little bit, but nothing horrible. And they've got a lot of nice smooth boardwalks, and it's a pretty easy park to get around, like wheelchair wise, when you're pushing from place to place. So there's not a whole lot of rides there that I'm going to talk about today, but we'll hit up the main ones. So the first one we're going to talk about is my favorite ride, maybe in all of Walt Disney World, and that one is Avatar Flight of Passage. So for this one, you do have to transfer, and it can be a little bit of a tough transfer because you go in and there's a row of seats that you're going to sit on, but all of them they look like motorcycle or jet ski seats, and you have to load from behind. So the way I do it is like the seat is sitting here and I bring my chair in behind it, and then I kind of move my legs to straddle it and then push up and then get scooted forward. So it's a little bit of a weird one. You could kind of come in at an angle too and throw a leg over and then pull yourself up like that too. So you have to have a decent amount of upper body strength for this one, or somebody who can assist you up onto the bike. And then you do have to scoot forward and get your chest up against like a chest pad, and a thing comes up behind you to hold you in place. So like I said, it can be a little bit of a cumbersome transfer. There's been a couple times where my feet, because your feet go into these little stirrupy things, and to get those situated too, Andre's had to help me a couple of times, and that's not a big a deal, but getting up there can be a little bit of a challenge. You don't like physically go down a track or anything for this one, and so your chair, they will take it out of the loading area because that moves, and so they take it off the ride, but they bring it right back to you behind when the ride is over. So your chair doesn't go anywhere necessarily. Like you load and unload exactly in the same spot because, like I say, you don't physically go anywhere with this ride. But once you're on, if you even if you don't have the best like core control or whatever, you're pretty secured in there, and with the handlebars, if you can hang on there, it's a pretty solid ride that you don't feel like you're gonna fall or feel like in danger of tipping or something like that. So like I said, the cast member takes your chair away and brings it right back to you. So that's Avatar Flight of Passage, one of my favorite rides, but a little bit tougher one. The other thing about that is like the queue, like even if you're using the DAS pass, there's quite a bit of pushing up a hill to get to that one too. So just keep that in mind, that you might need some assistance if you're trying to get up it's like a zigzaggy hill to get into the ride. So next we'll talk about Navi River Journey. This is another boat / water-based ride. This one, they do have a transfer board available. Again, it's the same one that they have at Pirates of the Caribbean, where you sit on a little stool and then it's got 2 bumps down into the boat. There is no option to stay in your chair for this one, so it is a must transfer. But do ask for that transfer board. It makes things a lot easier on this one. And then you load and unload in the same spot, so your chair stays there. They'll back it again. They just kind of back it away from the loading area and bring it back to you when you're ready. And again, this is another one too where it might be easier, where if you decide not to use the transfer board, you get onto the ground and then get into the boat, and then vice versa, coming out onto the like loading deck area and then into your chair, as opposed to trying to make the big jump from the boat into your chair. But that's Navi River. It's a little dark in that one too. I guess the loading area isn't dark, so that's not that bad. But next, we'll talk about Kilimanjaro Safaris. So that's the big one where you go down like the savannah in the safari trucks. There's a couple of different ways you can ride for this one. So you can decide to transfer, or you can stay in your chair. And I've done both for the safari. And my recommendation for this was actually is to stay in your chair, because when you stay in your chair, you sit at the front of the truck, and you've got benches on both sides of you, I think. Or you might be off to one side and then you have a bench on your left. But anyways, you're right at the front of the truck. And for me, when I rode up there, you can see a lot more because you're seated up a little bit more. You can see off to your left and behind you and to your right, and then out the front of the truck too a little bit. Whereas if you decide to transfer, more often than not, they're going to have you get into the very back row of the truck, and then there's like the back of the truck is behind you, so you can't see out you can kind of see out the back, but I just remember when I rode back there, my view was not as good. I wasn't up as high, so I couldn't see out the left side as well. So really I could kind of look behind me and I could look off to my right, but I remember missing quite a bit of stuff that was on the left side of our truck. So in my recommendation, it would be better if you stayed in your chair, because then you're right at the front of the truck, you're elevated a little bit, I feel. And then if you're sitting in the bench, and you can see a lot more. So that's Kilimanjaro Safari. Next one is Expedition Everest. So Expedition Everest is a roller coaster. It's another must transfer, but like the roller coaster we talked about at Magic Kingdom, they do have one of the carts that has a swing away like side door, so that makes that transfer into the train or whatever you want to call it a lot easier, and then it closes again and locks and secures you in the thing with the safety bar and stuff. You get on and off at the same spot, just like the other roller coasters, so your chair's right there. And this one, unlike Space Mountain, is a lot like the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, where it's a higher one up, so you're not going down into the coaster as much, and so that's not that hard of a transfer. And then next is, the Dinosaur ride. I think that's just called Dinosaur. It's another one that you got to transfer for. You can't stay in your chair. But this one is individual cars that are not connected to each other, but they do have the swing door available for you, and it's a little bit down, but not a lot down into it. And then, like we talked about in the Epcot video, where at Test Track they have like a separate area that they bring the car that you're getting into kind of off the track, and allows you ample time and to get in and out of the car. This one is similar too, where they have a separate loading area for wheelchair users, so you don't have to feel rushed or anything to get in and out of that one. So that one's a pretty easy one because of the swing away door and whatnot. Just make sure you ask about that, because sometimes if they don't know, they might not bring you to that specific car. So. And then the last one we're going to talk about for Animal Kingdom today is Kali River Rapids. This is another must transfer. You can't stay in it. So this is a river rapids ride that you get in like the circular raft and sit around with other people. And they have a separate area where they bring the raft away, so you don't have to worry about like where all the able-bodied people load. Like the rafts come in and this thing moves, and so it moves really slowly, but it does move. So if you want to load from your wheelchair, they have a separate part where nothing is moving and you can take your time. This one I do recommend, and pretty much every time I get on this ride, I get onto the deck or the floor first, and then transfer into the raft, because the raft sits low, and then like in the water, and then going down into the raft is even another big kind of dump. So This one, I think, going from my chair right into the raft would be really difficult. So I always get on the ground first. So that's just my 2 bits on that one. And then you will get wet on this ride. It's a water ride, obviously, kind of similar to Splash Mountain. But another, like we talked about at Test Track, that sometimes they let you ride that one twice. Kali River Rapids is one that sometimes they'll let you ride twice too. So depending on how busy they are, and I think there was one time we rode and they actually let me ride 3 times. That's because nobody was there in line at all. But a lot of times they do that, and then because that one can be a little bit more of a time-consuming transfer, they'll let you ride it twice without having to get off. So make sure you ask, and if they can't do it, they'll be polite, and if they can, they'll let you ride it. So that wraps it up kind of for Animal Kingdom. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about accessibility or my experiences at Animal Kingdom, not about accessibility, but my take on accessibility at Animal Kingdom, make sure you drop a note or a question down in the comments. I'll get back to you. And if you like these videos, make sure you check out the other ones that we did before this, and hit the subscribe button and the like button so you can catch the other ones that are coming up.